Having successfully completed the first part of our return trip across the North Sea, 175 miles from Kristiansand, Norway to Esbjerg, Denmark, it's time to stretch the legs, do some shopping and explore the Esbjerg area. That includes a visit to the local fishing and shipping museum. As always, after a trip, there are chores to be picked up, and so we cycle to the local hardware store for, among other things, new rods to block the desk drawers when we're under sail. We decide it's high time to extend the rods and pierce it through. And with that last job knocked off our list, we are waved goodbye by the seals at 6 a.m. in the early morning of July 31st as we set sail for the 195-mile trip down south to the Dutch Wadden island of Vlieland. The wind is broad-reaching and around 10 knots at first, so we sail with full sails. But when the wind shifts, we remove the mainsail to sail on a dead-run course. All day, despite the rocking sea swell, the entire crew enjoys a very pleasant sailing. And so we head into the night. Of course, we take turns and watch again, so we have no shortage of sleep. In the end, we reduce the Genoa sail a little, not because there's not too much wind, it's quite the opposite actually, but with the flapping of the Genoa in light winds and rocking of the waves, the clew and lines chafe against the rigging, For these winds, we truly need a light weather sail, and perhaps a boom would be nice. Now the cracks you hear are the rotating parts of the booms and halyards, which really need to be lubricated again due to salt encrustation. In the night during Patty's watch, the Willem Johannes is torpedoed by several fishing vessels. They always seem to find us. During the last hours of the crossing, the engine unfortunately has to be used as the wind drops to around 5 knots. Then it's more rocking than moving, so the engine makes it more comfortable. And then, after 39 hours, we turn our bow to the Dutch mudflats, the Wadden. And the familiar sounds of marine radio Brandaris reach us via the VHF radio and immediately updates us on the water levels.
Harlingen en Nes-Ameland hebben een verlaging van 5 centimeter. Actuele waterstanden ten opzichte van NAP. Westerschelling plus 67. Vlieland plus 73. Harlingen plus 71 en Nes-Ameland plus 63.
At 9 p.m. we are well at anchor off the island, and it is time for a mooring beer and lighting of a candle for a friend who died this evening. The next day, of course, we head to the island. And you can tell it's summer holiday because it's crowded. In the evening, we're treated to a mysterious lull with accompanying sunset. And on returning to the Willem Johannes after the last beach walk with Riff, we also find there's bluefin tide. Now that we're back in tide-sensitive waters, it requires good timing with sailing onwards from favorable tides. So we sail out with a beautiful sunrise at 7 a.m. on Sunday, August 4. Our destination is to make the move to fresh water, to Lake IJssel, the old town of Makkum to be precise. And with a nice westerly wind around 10 knots, we can sail almost the entire 23 miles to the Lawrence Lock. Now it's pretty busy there, but with the right guidance from the lock keeper and a good chat here and there among skippers, we all fit into the lock. And we reach Makkum, where we stay overnight. Sailing on Lake IJssel is rather different. The waves are smaller and often more vicious than the sea waves. As a pleasant surprise, the wind on our next course to the southern town of Wadden turns out to be against us, but super to sail with a tacking course. It's a great day and we're in no hurry, so all sails up in 9 to 12 knots of wind and engine off. Every now and then we tack, and because of the cutter rigging, that means almost entirely taking in the Genoa, tack the ship and unfurl it again. It keeps you busy. And this turns the 12-mile trip into 80 miles, and after a lovely day of sailing we end up at anchor off the old town of Wadden, where Riff is anxious to have a good chat with the local sheep. We make the last 30 miles of this Baltic 10-week voyage 2 days later, when the anchor is raised and we sail onwards to Makkum, our home port. This concludes a voyage where we have covered 2,175 miles over 5 countries, 130 hours of which were on engine and the rest on sail. Now we look back on an awesome trip and promise you many more of our adventures as we sail year-round. And we will also take you through the maintenance plan. For example, our Willem Johannes is in desperate need of a paint job, and after the rock landing in Sweden, some checks and possible repairs are needed. So keep following us on social media and our website sailingwillemjohannes.nl.